All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning into the Rich CELENZA Show. I'm going to be coming up, or this may be, not sure yet, my 400th episode as far as my podcast goes, which kind of blows me away. I literally remember doing my first few, and I had honestly no idea how I was going to go about it. But what I'm going to call this podcast is I don't follow, I don't lead, I help. I was in Chicago this week, and I was with a lot of family members and friends, and even some colleagues or fellow colleagues that I ran into. And it was quite interesting because a lot of my family members and friends, they've started businesses and they're very successful, which is wonderful. A lot of them are just doing really well, even through COVID. And I was trying to figure out like where I kind of fit with everything. And, sometimes, you think about how you were programmed again. We're programmed through our family, but I was thinking about, my mother and father, for instance, and how, my father is a leader. He was raised in a military school his entire life, and then he had a fluke accident. He was supposed to go to Vietnam. He didn't. He ended up opening up a bar nightclub, but he was first a very well-known hairstylist, one of the best in Chicago. But he loves being a leader. You could tell by the way he talks, and he loves having followers, right? I get it. That's kind of like, I think to a certain degree, what he was programming me to be. My mother, on the other hand, is a leader as well, just kind of different. She's more solo. And my mother's, I'm not saying a follower, not following anybody else, but she is a follower of Christ and religion. She really, I think growing up, looked up to religious figures. It could be a priest, it could be a brother, it could be a deacon, it could be even pastor, whatever you want to say. She really wants to follow in the way of the Lord, I guess you could say. And after looking at both of them, I kind of realized, I'm neither. And I have a hard problem following anybody, say, for instance. I'm actually the complete opposite of that. I don't like following anyone. That doesn't mean I can't get along with anyone, or I can't work for anyone, or any of that. But most likely I have to be solo, I realize, most of the time if I'm involved with another company. I think my mother, too, growing up, sent me to religious camps, let's say, and I was raised in a very Catholic environment, and then going to Bible study, during the week. And maybe that's what helps with my podcast and YouTube to a certain degree, is me being able to speak because I was always around people speaking, including priests. I think my mother wanted me to either be a pastor or maybe a priest or maybe a boss of some type of business or an athlete. All right. My father kind of wanted me to follow in his footsteps, especially when he owned a nightclub, and then he owned a vending club, but still kind of follow his lead. And I just wasn't really good at that. I had to go, even when I worked with my father for many, many years, I had to go independent when working with him, even collecting money, moving equipment. I'm really, I think, much better when I'm solo. And I was really trying to think, too, like, when have I led and when haven't I? So with my father's business, of course, I'm like second charge sometimes. But sometimes I'd even follow my friend who was one of my closest friends worked with us, and I kind of even followed his lead because I didn't want to be bothered a lot of times. I don't like to lead people in the sense where I feel like I need to direct them. I'm actually more of somebody, even if I have an employee working for us, is telling them or helping them find their dreams or go after their goals or starting their own business. I was not the guy who wanted, to hold someone back, or not even hold them back, but like always, be an employee. I want somebody to be independent. Even if they like being an employee, it just was weird for me. I just always wanted to, I think, help people in one way or another. And, when I was making films, my first couple films, I guess when you write, produce, and direct your own films, you are a boss. You're a leader. But I looked at that more as a collaborator. I really did. And again, when I'm trying to figure both things out, I think when it comes down to it, I just want to help people. It's not about me leading them to a certain point or telling them necessarily. I could give them advice, but I'm not here to tell you what you should and shouldn't do in your life. And especially if I work with somebody, I realize a lot of times I'm not very good at being a boss because I want to collaborate. I want to kind of bounce off ideas. I want to have fun. The main reason I even made my first couple films was because my cousin was an editor. And one of my cousins was involved with shooting film. And, my other family members were involved with, say, different aspects of the film industry. And I thought, again, as a collaboration. But when it comes to business, I'm okay if I want to be, but I'm very solo. And I think that's what really worked for me later in life, was kind of just doing things independent. That could be writing my books. That could be even writing screenplays or creating an app, creating a program. Even now, more than ever, I'm realizing, like on my YouTube and my podcast, like I loved interviewing other people. That was great. I even love having my co-host, my buddy Robert Beninati, once in a while on my podcast. But regardless what I'm doing, I go at it solo. I can't follow anybody. I'm all about freedom. It's unbelievable, and I really realized that last week, or this weekend, I should say as well, is I'm just somebody who, I don't know what you'd call me. I'm trying to figure myself out. Sometimes I used to goof around and call me a gypsy snob, hippie gypsy, because I like traveling, but I like it in a certain way, and I like traveling alone. And even when I was a father, of course, I want to lead my kids to whatever, I want to be open-minded, though. I want to program them, or I don't even know if that's the right word. I want to help my children be the best they can be. But regardless if they're religious, they're not, or whatever the case may be, I want them to really have the independence to think independently, regardless if I get along with their opinion or not, even if I'm arguing with them or not. I want them to be their own person. I don't want them to be nervous around me or be intimidated or me telling them what they can and can't do. I do expect a certain amount of respect, though, when it comes from them around me. And I'm sure, just like everybody else, they're different when they're around other people, right? And, I think what it all comes down to with me, too, is I just want people to see me exactly for who I am. And I don't want any bullshit. Lately I've been talking about this. I think I'm going to do a podcast or a video on it, is trim the fat. I don't want any more fucking bullshit. I want people to know exactly who I am, what I'm about. That could be on social media. That could be if you have a conversation with me, or if I'm working for someone, or whatever the case may be. I do not want to blend identities. Because again, if I'm working with somebody, or whatever the case may be, I'm always going to do my best, but I'm also going to be who I am. And it's just really hard for me to follow other people's policies a lot of times, or just do what they want to do. And they may not even be bad. They may be great. But I do need, again, to be a little more independent. And as far as leading, I know I'm leading my own podcast or my own YouTube or my own program. I get that's what I'm doing. But at the same time, if my followers or people that listen to me, subscribers, I just look at them as friends or colleagues. I know that's the name they use on social media. I want to help you in any way I can. I always said, and my buddy once said it to me, he's like, Rich, all you want to do is help people, and I genuinely do want to help people. That doesn't mean I can by any means help you with what you may or may not need. I can only help you with the knowledge that I have, or what I've been through. And a lot may not even be right. It just worked for me. And I did a podcast too saying, my information or what I'm trying to teach you or show you may not be for you. It may not even work for you, which is understandable. But I just thought I would do a podcast on this because I think a lot of people find themselves in my position where they don't want to maybe lead or open a company and take on a responsibility or all that. And they also get aggravated having to follow other people's policies or their lifestyle. It could be whatever. You're just not into that either. It could be religion. It could be politics. It could be whatever it is. You don't want to do that either. And I get it. I think there's actually probably more of us than anything else to a certain degree. I can't say that. There's probably a lot more followers to a certain degree because people do sometimes, follow. And I get it as far as religion, politics, or whatever the case may be. I get it. And I want to say one thing. I don't necessarily care what politicians or what politics you're into, what religion you're into, what you do for a career, as long as you're not hurting people. I'm not fucking down with that. But I think when you meet or talk or watch me, I do want people to know that I kind of understand, I think, and I am as much open-minded as I am, which I am very open-minded regarding a lot of things. I still have my ways and quirks. Is that the word? Quirks? Courts, I think. My mother told me that the other day. But I just wanted people to understand that's kind of an idea of who I am, because I think a lot of times on my podcast and my YouTube channel, I'm always kind of telling people what I think works well. It could be fitness, it could be fashion, it could be just whatever the case may be, everything in between. But I'm not here to tell you. I'm actually there to tell you what I've experienced and what I think works best. And I've been doing a lot too regarding trying to help people live kind of an extraordinary life affordably. And again, that may or may not work for you. If you have all the wealth in the world, God bless. If you don't have any money, I want to help you maybe accomplish things that maybe you never thought you'd accomplish. And that the same goes for fitness, health, and just in life in general. But again, I'm not here to necessarily say everything that I'm saying and doing or did will work for you. I would love for it to work for you, but I am always about learning. So I always say there's so much more I don't know compared to what I do know, and I understand it about myself. So I'll probably make this my 400th episode. Why? Who the hell knows? But if you get a chance, I usually do this at the end. Check out my YouTube channel, Rich CELENZA. I've been doing a lot of different stuff on there, man. If you're looking for, I think lately it's been more fashion related. I've been trying to help guys save money on buying clothes, how to buy the right type of outfits. But also there's always going to be fitness in there. I also have gym tours in there, different stores throughout North America, my favorite restaurants, all this type of shit. That's starting to finally build some momentum. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm always ready to say, if you get a chance, subscribe, because that's kind of programmed at the end of my YouTubes, but that's not in this case. But yeah, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. And, I am going to wrap it up officially with this. We're all different. I don't give a shit who you think you are. As much as I sound like my father in a lot of my actions, and that goes for my uncles, some of my cousins, and my mother and aunts or whoever, I know we are all individuals. You have your own choices to make. Don't think you have to, unless you want to, follow others, or that you're a lot like others, or kind of box yourself in and thinking you're something sometimes that maybe you're not. And I talk about that a lot with identity. Make sure the identity you have or who you are is who you want to be. Because I think sometimes a lot of people get caught up wanting to emulate or be others, which is great if you had, and I went through that with, say, filmmaking. I want to be Scorsese, or I want to be this, whoever, Quentin Tarantino. But when I started to make movies, I'm like, you know what? I'm not out to make movies like them. I'm not out to be like them. I'm out to be exactly where my energy leads me, and I want to be who I am. I'm not worried about what they've done in the past, what they've done currently, or what they're going to do. I just had to focus in and say, who am I? What do I want to accomplish? And how do I want to do it? So, all right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.